What's going on, guys? My name is Arrow, and today I'm bringing you a little bit of a league update. We're going to talk about how my first build went. We're going to talk about how to build my second build that I'm playing at the moment, and maybe some future plans of what I might play next. So stick around. So build one was the Spectral Shield Throw Trickster, and the goal of that build was essentially to maximize the new Trickster Ascendancy. We got, I think, 16 different masteries for Polymath, which resulted in some crazy sustain and a good bit of damage, and the build was a lot of fun. It pretty much went exactly as I expected. I didn't stray too far from the original build design that I put out in the first video. And it went really well. I killed most of the bosses in the game. I killed the pinnacle bosses, none of the Ubers, but it was never really designed to do that, and I just didn't want to invest too much more into it. We ended up going with the Emperor's Mastery Shield. Emperor's Mastery? I don't remember. We ended up going with the very high armor and ES shield that was just, and I think I paid a divine for it a couple days in, and it just worked out really well. I got a bit of a late start, so the early economy was a little bit different than for most people because I didn't play till day 3, I think. But the build went really well. We had a blast. It was pretty fast. It was pretty tanky. It had pretty good damage. It didn't do anything particularly well, but that's kind of the nature of a league starter. Got through my entire Atlas, 115 out of 115. Like I said, killed most of the bosses in the game, got my Void Stones, and it went well. So then I decided to make a transition. And what I transitioned to was Blade Vortex Explode Trickster. So what I wanted to do was try to bring back some of that old Explode feel and just map fast. What I realized after seeing how difficult it was to make currency this league is the faster you get through maps, the better off you're going to be. Throw a little bit of juice in there and just go, go, go. I didn't want to try to be on the cutting edge of figuring out new strategies because I just didn't have that much time to play. So I was just trying to get into maps, have fun, and blast. So we'll quickly talk through what I decided to do with this build. So this essentially comes down to explode. The goal of the build was to make full screens blow up. There are some versions of Blade Vortex going around right now which use like obliteration wands, which are good, but they don't proliferate the way that I wanted. So old Explode would blow up as far as the eye could see. So basically what we did to try to recapture that was we used a Explode chest alongside of the Asenath's Gentle Touch gloves and Herald of Ash. So to maximize this, we are taking fizz damage, which Blade Vortex is, and getting extra fizz as. So Ming's Heart, which I don't even have fully qualityed yet, gives you a bunch of fizz as extra chaos. That applies to your physical explosions, which come from your chest, as well as these gloves. Herald of Ash, we use Divergent for more area of effect. Herald of Ash takes fizz, gives you extra fizz as fire. That applies to your explosions from your gloves and your chest. And the result of that is full screen explosions. One of the problems that I had to solve as a trickster was area of effect, and there's not a lot of great places to get it. So we'll talk about where we get it as I go through the build. But essentially, you have to solve for flat damage, which we basically got some gem levels, and fizz is extra, and then area of effect. So let's just talk through the gear quick. A scepter, you can do a lot of different things here. You could go wand, dagger, whatever. Some multi, some crit chance, +1 spell damage, and then non-chaos is extra. It's just like a pretty generic, it wasn't very expensive. I crafted on the spell damage myself. Obviously, I think I spent like 20C on it, 30C. The helmet, we wanted duration. One of the big things of this build was I want it to feel smooth, and I wanted it to be fast. So in order for Blade Vortex to feel fast, you either need a ton of move speed or you need to use shield charge. I decided to use shield charge, and on top of that, if you use shield charge but you have to cast a lot, you shield charge and then you stop to cast and it just feels really clunky. So I went for ultimate duration scaling. So we got Blade Vortex duration on our helmet. We have an eternal struggle that has duration on it. We'll talk a little bit more about this later. We have the Dusk ring here, which gives us 15% increased skill effect duration, as well as a bunch of other really cool mods. We path over here to get exceptional performance, which is another bunch of skill effect duration. We have more from the mastery, and our Blade Vortex, just cast it up to 10 here, lasts a very, very long time. Yeah, so it just went off of 10. So we have 10 for a long time. So basically you can shield charge around after you've gotten to 10, and then every once in a while you have Awaken and Unleash, which gives you 5 stacks. Awaken and Unleash is not very expensive. I think it was like a divine. It gives you 5 stacks every time. So it's very easy to maintain. You can shield charge a ton. You can just fly through maps. You don't have to cast very often, and it's very smooth and comfortable to play. So for the helmet, we crafted this ourselves. Just get a ton of energy shield because the Trickster Ascendancy has Escape Artist. So we get a bunch of evasion per energy shield, and same thing with our body armor. We get energy shield per evasion. Unfortunately, we don't get very much evasion from our body armor because we wanted to go for a sacrificial garb, which is +1 to Val skill gems. Blade Vortex is Val, so that's a +1. Ton of flat damage. The Eternal Struggle is really a fun item because it's very cheap. I think I paid 5C for this. We got skill effect duration, we got area of effect, a ton of stats, which are really, really nice. Global defenses is good for our ES and for our evasion. And then this one gives us 15% cull, which is huge for a build that doesn't do a ton of damage. So when you get to the boss, it's just 15% less damage you have to do to the boss. For our shield, solving some issues here. We got spell damage, we got life, 2 big reses, and then another +1 for our Blade Vortex. Ming's Heart, minus life and ES, which is not great. It's a pretty big downside, but 70 chaos res, as well as huge amounts of fizz as extra chaos. Because we're scaling mostly fizz damage and then we get fizz as extra, this is like, I don't know, 30% more damage for this ring. So very, very powerful. As an S-Glove, we talked about, these are so cheap these days. I got these with these 2 really, really strong implicits for, I think it was like 60 chaos. +1 because we have an Enlighten in here, gives us a level 4 Enlighten for the price of a 3, and then we keep our auras in here. The boots, this is just a really nice, easy solution to get us move speed, a ton of evasion, and spell suppression. We are spell suppress capped, and then so the evasion and energy shield mastery. Again, we're trying to maximize masteries here because we're a trickster. +1 ES per 8 evasion on boots. This gives us 100 flat energy shield, which is so much because of this mastery. And then combine this with Escape Artist, our gear gets us just tons of extra defenses. This belt is just solving some problems as well as giving us some survivability. We needed a bunch more strength. It just gives us a lot of life ES, nothing special. The chest, this was pretty easy to craft. I made this myself. What I actually did was I bought a chest that had a tier 2 explode roll as well as 1 other Crusader mod, and then I elevated 50-50 to get 1 to the next tier, and it was going to be pretty much money either way. If I hit the other mod, I don't remember what it was, but if I hit the other mod, it would have been worth more. If I hit the explode, obviously it was worth, I think, like 3 divines at the time. So this was very cheap to craft. I think I spent maybe 3 divines on the entire thing. So spell crit, very nice. Additional curse for us to run Assassin's Mark, very nice. And +1. Quickly go over the tree. We're a trickster, so polymath. We're trying to get as many masteries as we can. I think we get 9 or 10. We're taking crit multi where we can, crit chance where we can. We have an inspired learning. Inspired learning is just so good for a fizz conversion spell skill that I don't want to say it's mandatory, but if you're not using it, you're crazy. So we ended up taking this chaos wheel, power charge, frenzy charge, and this life node to enable the inspired learning. And the chaos wheel is actually really nice because we have 65 chaos resistance. Chaos dots are everywhere these days, especially with Arch Nemesis. Very easy to avoid them with 65% chaos res. We do take one large cluster. There's just so much damage to be had from these. I think they're all like 8 or 9% more damage each. And then for the mediums, we go for AoE, multi, and life. Very strong. Our Watcher's Eye, +8% chance to evade attack hits, makes it way easier to hit evasion cap, which is 95%, without, scaling to like 100,000 evasion. And then the flash charge on crit was just like a little bonus. I had some extra mana to spend, so I threw a level 1 precision in, gives me a little bit of crit chance, as well as generating flash charges on bosses, which is really nice. We path over here, we grab Mage Bane, helps us get to spell suppress cap. We could get it on gear, but this was just an easy solution for now. Something I think that's super underrated for mapping builds, which this definitely is overcharged. If you're in this area, what you do is you take these 3 points, that gives you 12% chance to gain 1 charge of any of the types on kill. And then you take the charge duration mastery, which makes them last 20 seconds. While I am mapping, I have full uptime of all 3 charges. Absolutely 100% uptime. No matter how slow I'm mapping, it is full uptime. Really strong, really underrated. And it lasts well into going into the boss room and killing the boss. And that includes things like Conquerors. You go into the Conqueror boss fight, it maybe takes you 10 seconds to kill the Conqueror, 15 seconds at most, and you have all your charges up. So very nice for any mapping scenario, including boss killing in maps. Ghost Dance, obviously this build is kind of focused around it. We have a ton of evasion, and we have almost 2,000 energy shield. This gets us a huge amount of ES recovery when we do get hit, which is rare, but that includes spell hits, which we do take. So between spell suppression and Ghost Dance, we just tank spells all day. This build is very tanky. Wicked Ward as well for some synergy with the Trickster Ascendancy. 50% chance for ES recharge to restart when you suppress spell damage, which we don't have any spell dodge, so we're always taking spell hits, which means our ES recharge is constantly restarting. And between that, the recovery from Polymath, the overleach from Soul Drinker, our ES is almost always capped, which means we very rarely tap into our life pool. And when we do tap into our life pool, we are using, where is it? Petrified Blood. Petrified Blood makes it so when you take life damage to your life pool, a bunch of it is basically taken as damage over time. Because we are constantly recapping our ES, we'll take damage to our life, we instantly recap our ES, and that gives our life pool a little bit of time to recover. It doesn't take much time because we have leech and regen from vitality, so it goes up pretty quick. But anytime we tap into the life pool, we almost instantly have full ES right afterwards, and it protects that life pool to allow it a second or two to recover. So very nice. Petrified Blood in this particular type of build is essentially just a huge more multiplier to your defenses. I think at the end of the day, we maybe spent 8 total divines on this build. I basically wanted to turn my Spectral Shield Throw build into a build that could just map really fast. And honestly, I just was looking to have some fun. I'm not really streaming much this league. Life's been a little bit crazy, so my apologies for the lack of content. The plan is to be back in full swing for next league. I'm going to keep making content here and there this league, but the plan is to be back in full swing for next league. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I just wanted something that could blast, and boy, did this hit the spot. It's been a lot of fun. I'm now looking to possibly transition. I've made a good bit of currency. I've got 16 divines now raw, but I have a ton of stuff to sell. As you see, I've got 1,300 chaos. I've just got scarabs, and I'd need to liquidate a lot. I probably have 40 plus divines worth of stuff that I could liquidate pretty quickly. So I need to think of what I want to do next. I might level a new character. I didn't level a new one for this BV build because I just wanted to explore Trickster a little bit more. But I have a couple of ideas of things I want to do. One of the things I'm looking at is a Hand of Wisdom in Action, Dexterity, and Intelligence build. I think that could be pretty fun. I also bought this ring because I'm looking at doing a Mind Over Matter build. And I thought, what better than just getting the most possible mana and mana regen out of my rings with the new mirroring system. So I bought this for like, I think 3 divines. I have it up for sale just in case I sell it for a ton of divines. But I think I might make a Mind Over Matter build. It's still not very strong, but I think with these new mirrored jewelry items, it could be pretty fun. So we'll see. I'm in the process of theory crafting. If you have any fun ideas for a Mind Over Matter build, put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear your ideas. Something I feel like every league I try to theory craft a mom build and I never end up making one because it's just simply not that strong right now. But I think with the new jewelry we could make something fun. With all that said, that's pretty much all I have for now. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you coming to check out the video. My apologies for the lack of content, but as many of you know, life has been a little bit crazy for me. But with that said, as always, take care.